And we are live, actually getting our technology together. Hello, my name is Terrence Mentor, also known as Aphrodite, and I'm joined by the Colonel himself, Captain Sean Lutz. That's right, you're a Colonel and a Captain today.
Thank you very much. Is that a kernel of popcorn? A Captain
Yes.
Popcorn?
Yes,
Lovely.
Captain Colonel Popcorn. That's exactly what you are. So today we thought we wanted to talk about being ill. But before we get there, I want to tell you about quickly why we're doing these live streams versus the podcast style versus all the kind of things you'll be doing. Because what we used to try to do is get a podcast out every single week on a Thursday. And we did that for a while and that was great. But we realized the way you interact, yes, I'm talking to you, the way you interact with, not you, Sean, the person watching or listening.
Just checking.
The way you interact with all of our content is pretty random. So we thought, let's just do it when we can do it, and hopefully you'll enjoy it whenever you can enjoy it. So this is live right now, but of course you can also listen to it as a podcast. Just search for Have You Asked Your Dad wherever you get your podcasts, or you can also get it on YouTube. Search for Have You Asked Your Dad on YouTube or on the Instagram account. Plus, we'll be putting all the clips out, doing all of the social media things that people are supposed to do to grow a brand. Have to say a big hello to Danny Painter, our favorite person in Durban.
No, you got that so
Pretoria.
horribly
I got
wrong.
that so wrong. Do you know why? Do you know why I think she's
Danny.
from Durban? No. Do you
tell
know
me.
why? Can I tell you why I think Danny's from Durban? Everyone I've met from Durban is really nice and has a cool vibe.
Okay.
And Danny's vibe matches that.
I think you might have saved yourself
Did
there.
I save
I think you might have just saved yourself. That was a nice compliment. But I give Danny permission to slap you up the back of the head next time she sees you, if she feels it necessary.
Okay, it's up to her. But she's nice
it's
enough
her
not
call.
to. She'll probably just give me a hug and say, I forgive you, because she's that kind of person. So,
Look at you. Look at you. Hey, Danny, welcome to the show.
so Shauna, I thought that today we could talk about the idea of illnesses and sicknesses and runny noses and coughs and all tummy bugs and all of the little junk that goes on in our bodies throughout any given year. Obviously there are the concept of illnesses and sickness can be quite a big thing. It can be very difficult for people to deal with. We're not dealing with those big ones. We're not going to be dealing with the big C word, for instance.
Okay.
This is
Fair.
dealing with the household sicky mickeys. That's
Right.
what I thought. And the reason why I thought about this was because on Tuesday, both my wife and I woke up with just what we call snolly lollies, running
Oh.
noses and a sore throat, and we had a head. It's
Okay.
we had head colds. We have a head cold.
Right.
Do you not call it that? Does no one else call it a snolly lolly?
I've never heard of that
I've
before.
never heard of that.
The Don Father SA has jumped in on Instagram. Maybe he has something to say along those lines. But I, for one, have never heard of the snolly. Did you say lollies?
Lolly, snolly lolly.
Like
Imagine-
a lacquer, like a lolly stick.
No, not I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Good.
Do you know what it is? My dad had a lot of weird sayings, and I've just realized that was another. It was one of these things where he said it so often that I just assumed it was something that people said all the time, and I've just now, in real time, discovered
Okay.
that is not something that people call runny noses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not this other person anyway. Maybe there are others, and no judges.
yeah,
Because
that's-
we don't do that. But it caught me by surprise. So I might use it in the future.
Please do. That's we'll
Okay.
spread the mentorness.
Well,
Across-
the illness.
Okay, so to kind of place the standard of conversation in the right category for tonight.
Right.
Like
Okay.
I said, we're not talking about the big scary stuff, but more about the stuff that we deal with every day. Okay, the Don Father says he's never heard it been called that, so I think I
All right.
am very unique in this.
So
Mom, if you're
one
mom, yeah. Mom, if you're watching, you could have told me. I could have not embarrassed myself.
So that's one for mentor and 400 for everybody else. Right.
So okay, but so to start the conversation off, I wanted to talk about this concept called the man flu.
Oh, yes. Okay, do share.
We're just going straight into like controversial territory, like right off the bat, because I hate that concept of the man flu. Like, when I say that, what comes to your mind when you hear man flu?
I feel it doesn't exist. Look, I've seen it advertised on television where they're trying to get you to purchase certain cough syrups or vapor rubs or whatever they might be because the man is so down and out. But for me, in my personal capacity, I don't even know that I've seen my dad fall ill once. And then, he must have. How could he not have? I just obviously didn't know it happened. I don't know how he did that. He's very mysterious.
Unless your dad
he does exist.
Was he Bruce Willis from Unbreakable? Is maybe
Chuck Norris. He's actually looking a little familiar to me right now. Yeah. No, but for on the realsies, I also don't find myself getting ill very often. If I do get ill, the last time I was sick was COVID, and that took me a while to figure out I had COVID, to be honest. So the man flu to me feels like this mythical thing that people have created. And for you?
Yeah, same with my dad. Never saw him, like with the ads where the man is like covered up with a duvet up to his chin, and he's like, "Oh baby, I'm so sick. Oh, please give me a med lemon." And like he can barely hold the cup, and like people are bringing, his wife is like feeding him chicken soup. I've never ever seen that ever. I'm not like that. I like I said, I was sick this week, but I generally recover pretty quickly. I go off and I deal with it myself. If there are drugs that need to be taken, I take it. If I have to get my blood circulating, even though it sucks, I go and do it. If I have to just go and sleep it off, then I do. Like, I will do whatever's necessary to make myself feel better faster, even if that period sucks really hard, which is the opposite of a man flu, right? Like, the man flu he enjoys kind of being sick, and he like relishes being cared for.
I think that's what the premise of man flu is, that he sort of leans into being sick. I'm not 100% sure. But listening to you say that you'll do whatever you need to do to get yourself on the mend as quickly as possible, that sounds very familiar to me. If it means that I need to take those odd medications that don't taste so great or do it repeatedly every so many hours, I will rather do that so that I can get myself on the mend as quickly as possible than wallow in my illness. Maybe, I don't know, were you an athlete at school? Did you push yourself with... Okay.
Like, I'm so glad that you think that would be, looking at me, that would be possible, but I definitely wasn't. But I also
you complimented Danny earlier. I felt it's only fair that I give you a compliment now.
I do think that it is a matter of context, right? So maybe there was a group of men, or like a period where men behaved that way, and that's how we've kind of now got this stereotype for men, but again, I've never seen it. All of the experiences I have of men getting sick is literally actually the opposite, where they keep pushing through, they keep pushing, and then they just die. Like you should have taken the rest day. You should have had the man flu and relaxed and taken it easy.
Now that you've said that, our favorite Danny, I'm going to keep, making sure that she feels loved and appreciated here. Danny has come through on Instagram, and you're welcome to do the same, saying, I think man flu gets its name from women because men generally take the time to rest and recover, whereas women don't. And I feel like it's a jealousy thing. In my house, at least, laughing, crying face, which I feel like she added just to make it lighter.
Is it laughing? Is it crying? We don't know.
Yeah. But I think she might have a point there, in the sense that maybe when it comes to running a household in I want to say in years gone by, when mother was responsible for everything and father walked in and then felt ill, and then they were like,
his newspaper and
exactly.
Ate his
But actually he's got enough rest and mom worked exceptionally hard. Maybe it does stem from that sort of rhetoric, that sort of behavior over the years. I don't know. Not learned enough, I'm afraid.
And look, I did say we weren't going to take this into any heavy zones, but it is weird that we have, on the one hand, we have like this man flu narrative that men take like excessive time to get better. And on the other hand, we have this idea that like men don't get the care that they need. Like they're not okay with being vulnerable. So like we want men to be vulnerable, and if they need care, they should be willing to ask for it. But then we also make fun of them for having man
when
flu.
they do.
And I'm like, oh, are we like forcing men to and I do that when I have a sniffle and I just want to like lie down. There's that little part of me that goes, oh, if anyone sees me lie down or like take a moment, they're gonna shout out man flu and kind of insinuate that I'm weaker for trying to recover. So it's a weird thing that like men have to navigate. So on the one hand, we're not being vulnerable enough, and on the other hand, we're being too vulnerable. And then on the
couch in the background, there's a cat. Yeah.
Luna, I'm trying to do a live stream and you're chasing like lookies in the background. She really is going for it. I don't know. She's lost her mind.
Love it, Luna. Go girl.
Luna. Yeah, go away. That would be great.
No, that wasn't okay. Well, as you like.
So maybe I know I've said two hands, but then on the third hand,
yes,
we also have this like statistical thing of men not getting medical care soon enough, and then either things are worse or really tragic. So just something to think about before you throw out the term man flu. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Fair. Yeah,
like Shona said, though, definitely want your comments and tell me if you think I'm wrong or if you think I'm a complete almost said, it's adult time, purple. It's fine, I can say it.
Don't be such a snolly lolly. Yeah.
You know what? Because you live in Afrikaner land, you say that so much better than I do.
Well, thank you very much. You are full of compliments this evening.
Yeah, but like you've taken my own family thing and you're like, it's like savor the way you do it. Anyway. Okay, so I think we slammed the man flu concept, but just kind of off that, for you personally, how bad do you have to get before you go to the doctor? And in
Michael
the comments,
Jackson bad. Yeah.
Off the wall bad.
I'm bad. Yeah, feel free to weigh in the comments as well. Like you say, I honestly, I don't have a family doctor. So when I get sick, it's a case of going, so who are you going to call, And it takes me a while to figure out who I'm going to call. But I guess it has to be pain and it has to be uncomfortable for me to go see a doctor. Because I'm relatively quick on the self-medication type stuff, then I convinced myself that I've got this under control. And invariably I do. I mean, I also consider gut health and mental health when it comes to physical health. So I'll be sure to take a probiotic every now and again to make sure that my gut health is good, which keeps everything regular. I try my best, and I generally fail, but I try my best to get outside and to see the sun. Would not look directly at it, don't get me wrong. But, blue skies.
I thought you only had a daughter. But...
Full of jokes tonight. Because I've been watching and listening to a lot of Andrew Huberman, who is a neuroscientist and has a podcast called Huberman Lab. It's fantastic. He speaks a lot about, and this is when I was trying to get into better sleep cycle habits. And he talks a lot about that, seeing a particular light during the day. So it's as the sun's sort of rising, that yellow blue for the sky, getting at least 10 minutes of this. You think I'm talking absolute nonsense. I can see it in your eyes.
It's called it's called golden hour for a reason.
There we go. And how important that is to your circadian rhythms. So I take a lot of that information in. And I try and practice it because I do believe it's a holistic approach to everything that you're doing. I can't go flat out and then expect for myself to be able to contain or have enough to be able to give to my family, right? So I need to be able to put something back in. And again, caveat here, I don't get it right. But fortunately, I don't seem to fall ill. So you're quite right. I would have to be pretty bad. Danny says death bad. That's quite bad.
No,
Yeah.
get help before that, Danny. We need you around.
Yes, please. So it does have to be relatively bad, but to the point where I feel like I really can't fix it myself. And then I'd go and see a doctor.
Well,
it's been a while.
The Don Father, by the way, great fatherhood and just general content creator. Fantastic photos, beautiful family, worth following. He is from Durban, so I got that one right.
Okay.
Oh wait, what if I'm wrong? What if I got that one wrong?
Oh boy,
I think he's from Durban.
He's going to come after you. You might find a horse. Wow. It's close to
eventually,
you.
we have to get one follower from Durban, just so I can. But anyway,
compliment them on coming from Durban. Oh goodness.
He said, "I treat ASAP with whatever I have available at home first." Yes, that's
all of my thumbs up. Yeah.
And I mean, look, from the little bit, and this is also the thing, right? With all the home remedies, it's all like our own research and like where we've gone to get information. But I do know that by the time you're sick, like vitamin C is not going to help you at that point. Like vitamin C doesn't fight a cold or flu. But I do think that there's a big thing about your mind, like you're saying, like it's a holistic thing. So I'll drink med lemon to make myself mentally feel better. I feel like I'm doing something,
Right.
And
I hear you.
I think, and then I go and I have a 2-3 hour nap, and I feel better when I wake up, and I tend to recover fairly fast from these things. And you were saying earlier that it needs to be very painful or uncomfortable before you would even consider going to a doctor. I'm the same, and I often find that by the second day, if things are getting worse by the end of the second day, then the morning of the third day I'll go to the doctor. So like I hate the idea of going to the doctor when things are already getting better. Like your body's starting to sort itself out and the doctor says, I can give you antibiotics if you really want, but right now you're going to have to wait a week anyway. So just, don't give me the antibiotics. Just let me be. This actually brings me to one of the things I want to talk about was when I was very, very, very sick last year. And I ended up in high care. It took me 4 days before both my wife and I were like actually, my wife came home after dropping off the boys, actually on her birthday. And she took one look at me and said, I think now's the time we should go to the doctor. And I was like, I think you're right. And she kind of helped. The fact that she had to like help me into the car was the sign that we were definitely needing help. And again, that was right. I did need to go to the doctor and I did need to go to the hospital and all that stuff. But that was at first, it started off as just like stomach cramps. And then it felt like I had a tummy bug. Then it felt like I had a really bad tummy bug. And I was like, okay, so this is the worst it's going to get. I'm at the peak. I'm going to start coming down the hill now. And the hill, the end of the hill just never came. It was like cycling up Seikobosi. It just never, ever arrived. So, would I have helped myself more if I'd gone to the doctor on day one? Yes. But who wants to go to the doctor for like a little bit of, diarrhea? It's not, I'll eat some toast and I'll sort myself out.
Sort yourself out. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we both agree that it has to, we're not as bad as Danny, who's like on death's door bad. Danny, if you're still watching, I would love to know if you are like, have you ever actually gone to the doctor? Because what happened in your life to make you go to the doctor if you're that bad? Okay, so when you have been sick, like the few times in your life, have you been sick since you became a dad? Like, have you personally been sick?
So 7 years, you're asking. In 7 years, have I fallen ill? Yes, I must have. COVID was in that time.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Miraculously, both myself and my wife COVID same time, but Zoe didn't get sick at all. Go figure.
So how did you cope with being sick, and especially with COVID, which I assumed must have knocked you pretty hard?
Oh, that was awful. Yeah, no. Of all the times I have been sick, and you're quite right. If I think about the 7 years, yes, there have been times where I've been down. Invariably, I used to lose my voice, mostly because working in an environment that requires you to use your voice and working in a live studio environment that invites, it's a 3-hour cycle where there are new germs floating in and around. So every season, as the seasons changed, it was just a domino effect where one person would get sick and then they would just infect the others. So you were always, trying to skirt the corners and around the microphones so that you didn't pick up any germs. Not always so easy. So invariably it would be my voice that I would lose, and you can keep going without a voice. Well, you can't work on radio without a voice, but you know what I mean. Like I'm not so sick to have to be in bed.
Yeah, you
basically.
You can keep doing dad stuff.
Exactly. I can keep doing dad stuff with a sore throat and stuff. But COVID was completely, obviously, far worse. And the fatigue was the worst part of the COVID strain that we got. I've got a set of stairs in my house, and climbing the stairs was exhausting to the point where you would take a break at the top of the stairs. And at that point, we were still carrying Zoe everywhere because, being non-ambulant, that word that her neurologist likes to use, where she can't do anything for herself and she just hoys non-ambulant around. Like, I had to look it up, by the way. I didn't understand what that meant.
A lot of syllables in that word.
Yeah. I've done a lot of dictionary reading. That's one word that I do remember what it means. Nonetheless, and so carrying her up and down the stairs was exhausting more than anything else. So yes, then trying to find people to step in was really hard. I mean, that of course being COVID, you couldn't get anybody to step in, and you have to deal. But in another scenario whereby general, losing a voice, feeling ill for a day or two, trying to rest and recuperate, we've been fortunate that it's a bit of a ping pong match. So if I'm out, Rue's 100%.
Yeah.
So, going like a Boeing.
Yeah.
And that's the way we've been able to manage it thus far. Touch wood.
Because kids don't understand that mom and dad, or mom or dad, are not at 100%, because we're superheroes to them. Like, we are capable. We're capable of doing anything, and we're incapable of any sort of pain or weakness, or not like suddenly if you can't do a thing that you could do before. Kids don't get that, especially when they're young.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I remember when there was one point where both Julie and I were hit by a tummy bug. There was vomiting involved, not great. And Liam, this was before Eli was born, so Liam must have been about 6 or 7 months old. So he's just a baby who's like looking at mom, looking at dad, looking at mom. He doesn't want to sleep because obviously there's a lot of like activity in the like little flat that we were living in at the time, and he's always been a very sensitive child, like sensitive to the vibe in a room. So clearly something's not right, and he's just awake, and he's not crying, he's just concerned. Like, what's going on here? But we need him to sleep, because we need him to go and sleep so that we can go and throw up. Like, and
priorities,
priorities. And that was probably the first time that we like called in the troops. Like, we called in my mom, and she took him away to go and sleep at her place, while we just like, because also we didn't want him to get sick as well, obviously. But it's even now when if I'm very, very sick, there's that guilt where you're like, I should be up and doing the parenting things that I'm supposed to be doing. And what makes it almost worse now, it's sweet, but it's kind of worse, is when I'm feeling really sick and one of my boys comes into like the room where I'm trying to like recover or whatever, and they're like, Dad, are you okay? Can we get you anything? And I'm like, no, I'm supposed to be caring for you. What are you doing? You're 7. You can't be caring for me. And so it is. I'm not sure. It must be easier being sick if you don't have kids. Like, you could just grab a bunch of tissues, get into bed, watch shows for the whole day.
Yeah. I mean, the only experience I can lean on there would be prior to having a kid. And I think it was easier. If memory, I mean, it was so long ago. Let's be honest. I mean, my memory fails me from one day to the next. So I think it was easier. our bodies were more resilient and we were up and running that much faster. And I mean, as soon as you become a parent, the laundry list of responsibilities just it piles up, doesn't it? Just like the laundry does.
Ironically.
It never ends. Yeah. So I assume, yes, you're quite right. Whether you're an adult or a fledgling adult and newly and handed your adult card just fresh out of school,
Woo!
you know,
Still hot.
I got it. Woohoo! I look just like my picture still. Yeah. You know, maybe if you're then yeah, I mean, you can fall ill and you can. I don't know. I think if you're all on your own, you're yearning for someone to look after you. But then when you do have children that you are responsible for and are in your care, and you have your chores that still need to get done, it is really hard to balance that. And it would be nice to have, more of a village to lean on, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I can't think of many people that would volunteer to jump in when someone's
Sure.
sick, though.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is the thing. If I live closer to you or you live closer to me, this is where I think guy friendships could do better. Like I think, and I'm calling myself out in this. Like I know when my friends are sick who have kids, I'm not the first one to say, "Hey, let me come in there and like help you out." Whereas my wife and her friends are very quick to be like, "Oh, you've been sick for the last 2 days. What do you need? Can I come and do something for you? Can we like do whatever? Do the laundry? Give you some soup? Like some food? Whatever." So we could be better at that. I think there's definitely an irony there, right? Where when you're younger, you bounce back from illness faster because you have more energy, you have more time, you're more youthful, right? Like you recover faster from an illness. But when you're older is when you actually need to be able to recover faster. Like right
Sure.
now, it's more important for me to only, if I am sick, I can be sick for half a day before things start to fall apart. Whereas when I was 20, 21, 22, that's when I was sick for half a day. Like I'd be sick in the morning and by the afternoon I'd be ready to go out. But that's the time I had the time to spend 2 days lying in bed. So damn it, buddies. The wrong way around. I don't understand. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about before we close. I know we've gone on for half an hour already, and I just the one thing I wanted to just quickly talk about, and I'm not sure if you would have experienced this necessarily. I know.
Try me.
Okay, well we'll see. Like, actually, you probably may have experienced this because you've obviously spent you've coached kids with swimming and stuff, so you've engaged with children all the time.
Yes.
Do you ever get angry when a kid has made you sick? So
I'm trying to think of a time when that would have happened, but I can.
has Zoe ever made you sick? Has Zoe ever had like a cold and then sneezed into your face, and then you're sick 2 days later?
I mean, she's done pretty gross things to my face. So I'm trying to think of this if sneezing was the worst of them. This might not be the episode for that. So
yeah, we need to have grossest episode, just a gross episode for like Halloween.
the grossest things. Have I gotten angry if a kid made me sick? I don't think it's, if they had made me ill, I wouldn't have gotten, as I've said to you before, it's never pushed me to the point where I have been like knocked out, right? So I would have gone, I can trace this back to X. I know where this came from. That little so-and-so. But then I would sniffle around and just carry on, and that would be it. So I can't really justify associating anger with the level of illness that I would have in experienced. And no, with Zoe as well. I mean, she's had chest infections, she's had all sorts of things, but I've never, that to my recollection, again pointing back to my brain not being able to recall things, not to the point where I was really ill. So no, anger would be far too strong an emotion to attach to that.
Maybe the word I'm going for, because for me, anger and annoyance are very close. Like when I get annoyed, I get angry very quickly. So maybe annoyance is a better word, because I've had that before, where when the boys started to go to preschool and all of a sudden they're like surrounded by 50 other kids who, I don't know, are all picking their nose. I don't know why there's always sick kids in preschool. Like parents, if your kids
I've
are
heard of
sick,
this phenomenon.
yeah, keep your kids home. I say that as a parent who has sent a sick kid to preschool because you have
You
to
need
work.
time.
You need time. So, but inevitably, some parent is going to take a chance and send their flu-ridden, cold-ridden, scurvy-ridden child to preschool.
Scurvy. Yeah.
And they're going to get the bubonic plague at preschool. They're going to come home. They're going to cough all over your face, right? They're going to sneeze into their hand and they're going to wipe it on your top. And you're going to do everything you can to make them feel good. You're going to make sure they get their medicine. You're going to make sure that they feel comfortable and warm through the sick time. And then they'll recover. And as they recover, you get sick. And no one cares for you.
Yeah.
And that is why I get annoyed.
Yeah. Look, I feel that level of annoyance with an adult. I don't think I've felt that level of annoyance with a child, but I also haven't gone through the preschool, what can we call it? Baptism of fire, where it's 2 days in and 3 days out and 1 day in and 4 days out and the entire family gets, I haven't been through that. So I can understand where your level of annoyance is coming from, and I think it's probably quite warranted.
Yeah. And I think when you have 2 kids or more, I think there's also a issue there where just as the one kid is finally sleeping through the night and has recovered, as that kid is fine, you hear a two, and then it just... Oh,
starts all over again.
We're back here again. In the words of NSYNC, oh my gosh, we're back again.
On that note, it's nearly time for us to say
goodbye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Oh,
Cheapest, it took you forever.
Why didn't I get that? That is so...
I don't
it was
know.
right there. Maybe I'm
I
getting
know.
sick.
Oh.
Okay, well, that's where the podcast is going to end. If you're watching this video or maybe the repeat of the video on YouTube or on Instagram, thank you so much for watching. Please leave your comments wherever you're watching it. I will make sure that one of us replies to it. And of course, if you want to do a private message to us, maybe you're like, Terrence, I can't believe you said that. How dare you? I can't believe you used the word snolly lolly. You told Sean about that. That was a secret. Send it through to us via email, hyaydpod@gmail.com. One day when I'm really big, I'm going to have that come across the bottom of the screen. That would be impressive.
I would be it would be very impressive. I look forward to that day.
Yeah, it'll happen eventually. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great Wednesday, or whenever you listen to this, we will catch you soon.